Understanding the natural remedies through the laws of health, with Michelle Hill, a functional medicine specialist.
So what is disease? Disease is an effort of nature to free your system from conditions that result from a violation of the natural laws of health. Now, you're probably wondering, what are the natural laws of health? But for those of you who did the first 5-day training with me, you may remember that those natural laws of life are nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, trust, and also I added attitude, if you can remember. That is why I've called this program A New Start, because a new start is actually giving you the acronym for the very, very important natural laws of health. That means the person who has got a disease has broken one or some of those natural laws of health. Your body is subject to wear and tear, but when disease strikes, the regular functions are temporarily set aside, and your body then goes to work to regenerate itself, right? You've heard me say this before, but that's okay, because tonight's a new night and I really want to refresh your memory. So instead of using energy to digest your food or for muscular activity, your body then switches over to cleansing, repairing, and building. You know what? We are fearfully and wonderfully made, and marvelous are thy works. Now, that's a saying that comes from the Bible. For those of you who do read the Bible, it's found in Psalm 139:14. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. So what happens to a person when we get sick? So when your body becomes sick, your organs have become weary and overloaded, and that means they are full of toxins. And if you ask me about dis-ease, where does that begin? I will always tell you it begins with toxicity in your system, and toxicity in the system leads to inflammation. Now, what does toxicity mean? Toxicity means any additives that you are adding in that may be affecting your body. If you can remember the first 5-day program we did, I talked about caffeine being one of the main culprits. We look at drugs, we look at alcohol, we look at the makeup that you wear. If you can remember, I talked about all of these things, the shampoo you're putting on your hair, and there is so much more that adds toxins into your body. I'm very famous for talking about not eating animal proteins. That adds toxins into your body. Now, I don't judge people who do eat meat, because if that's what you do, that's your life, and I'm not going to judge you and call you a bad person. My job is simply to teach you and to let you know what is giving you the toxins that is in your system and why you are getting ill. So when your body is loaded with toxins, we need to remove those toxins. We need to detox. We need to reset so that all our organs will start functioning properly again. So disease is meant to be a friend and not an enemy. Why do I say that? Because a disease is a warning. It's a warning sign. It's letting you know that something is wrong and you need to fix it. But this is where we always go, this is where we get into trouble, because when we say you need to fix what's wrong, I don't mean with any type of drugs. As you all know, I don't believe in drugs at all. However, there may be times where you are so seriously ill that you may need emergency drugs, right? And that's something that has to happen occasionally. If you have a bad car accident, when you are in a coma, now I can take people out of comas even without drugs. But you know what? The pharmaceutical companies don't like us functional medicine practitioners. Why? Because we use everything natural. That's literally cheap or even free, and they can't make money from it. Hence, they medicate. Now, I don't medicate, I educate. And that is why you are on this program, because you want to be educated. You want to learn all the natural ways how to, first of all, prevent disease, and then how to treat it if you happen to have it. So how do we find the underlying cause of the disease, Stephen is asking, or the dis-ease? Well, that's where I come in. It's my job to become your detective, and your private detective, Michelle, looks at every system in your body, and I draw up a plan of everything that I ask you. You respond, and I make up a massive map. And with the map, I map out your body, and I go into every system and every detail: what you eat, what you drink, how long you sleep, do you have amalgams in your mouth, do you go to the toilet every day, how many times a day are you passing stools, how many times a day are you urinating, all of the above. And that's how I come to the conclusion of what the underlying cause is. And that is why I studied functional medicine, so I don't have to medicate anybody, I can educate you. And I've made a further decision to educate people online, and that's just what I'm doing, and I'm so glad you are here to learn. So let's keep going. Disease is a friend and not an enemy. But you know what we do? We entrust our bodies to physicians who have been taught to put chemicals, more poisons, more drugs, and more toxins into our system, rather than to just cleanse the system of impurities. The body gets well when we reset, detox, and cleanse the body. So you know what happens is people medicate and they get more sick. Why does that happen? Because the body is taking in more toxins, more toxicity, much more overload, sick organs, sick body, sick mind, sick everything and everywhere. And unfortunately, you just don't heal. So I will tell you just what's happened when we have a sick body because of medication. So backtrack. The body has, as it were, shut down or reduced all extra functions so healing can take place. That is why we have disease. That's why I call it your friend, not your enemy, because what is happening here, I'll repeat myself, you have a disease that comes about, right? That means your body is shutting down or it is reducing all the extra functions so that healing can take place. You start to feel weak, you can't handle food, you feel perhaps nauseous, you want to sleep all the time, you don't want the light is too bright, you have all sorts of things going on. So you lay in your bed, you rest your mind and your body, and the healing starts to take place. But it needs help in order to succeed. So instead of putting poisonous drugs, as most doctors will introduce in the body, if you do just what I said, you're going to start healing. So immediately, your body is aroused when a poisonous drug is introduced. And the body starts to say, okay, something's coming in. I need to stop the natural healing process. Why? Because now it has to focus on the poisons coming in, and it has to start to fight those poisons.